Welcome back to Light the Fuse. Charles, how we feeling today?
I feel amazing, Drew. We just did the 200th. Then we had 201 with Maggie Q. Now we've got 202. This is just an embarrassment of riches. This has just been so much fun to do this show, and I can't believe we've done 202 episodes now. It's kind of insane.
I know 200 was a stretch. Now 202, we're really in uncharted territory.
But hey, we got Maggie Q again this week. So I mean, this is a wonderful chat that we have with her. There's so much stuff. And I have to give people a warning that it is a dog party that we were having with Maggie. So our dogs are there and her dogs are there, and so there are interruptions and things that happen with the dogs. That it gave the interview life. I thought it was fun.
I think so too. I mean, it was a real hoot to be there. I'll say that with the amount of dogs running around.
We had fun. I know the dogs had fun. Yeah,
we got to get them together again too.
Yeah, for sure.
As much as I love Maggie, I really want to see her dogs again. So we get into more stuff, more stories, more fun. Do you want to tee anything up, Charles?
No, I think that, we ask her about the rabbit's foot. We talk about Phillip Seymour Hoffman. There's good stuff. We'll talk a little bit more afterwards. I think you should do your shout outs.
Okay, yeah, I got to do my shout outs first. And obviously, we got to shout out Jeremy Dillon and his podcast, My Favorite Album, and the fact that longtime Light the Fuse favorite Eddie Hamilton is a guest on his podcast. So I think that'll be a real fun treat for anybody that listens to this show.
Yeah, they had an epic chat. It was like 90 minutes or something.
What? Is he upstaging us?
Cool it, Jeremy.
Cool it, Jeremy. I also want to thank John B., who's been a supporter for a long time, and Elvis Ripley. So thank all of you, and we'll be back right after Maggie Q Part 2.
So you said Phillip Seymour Hoffman's a friend. How was it, working with him, and what was he like? We've heard a lot of stories about him.
Yeah, we had the best time. Like, one thing that Phil doesn't like is he doesn't like B-roll. He doesn't like behind.
Yes, we have heard he is very touchy about
He does not like B-roll. He's working, and valid. I mean, he's so focused, and sometimes those people are a little in your face, or it's distracting. It is, and if you're someone who can't handle that, then obviously you're going to have words about it. And so we never really liked them around, but we were filming to double the Vatican. I mean, we shot in Rome, obviously, but we also, we needed to blow things up. And the Catholic Church wouldn't let us do that right outside their front door. Weird. And so we were in in Caserta, which is south of Rome, at this castle, this enormous castle. And, so Phil and I decided we were going to do a boot camp. Like, let's just get all the stunt guys together. Like, we have the most talented stuntmen in the world. Like, let's get in shape and be paid to do it, kind of thing. So we ended up doing these boot camps at this castle. So we would run around the castle and then do push-ups and then burpees and it was our routine. I was you're getting in shape and I want to stay in shape and let's do this thing. And we have all these amazing stuntmen who can design these programs for us. So we ended up doing that, and he I think had just sort of recently met the love of his life at that time. This is pre-children and stuff, and so it was the beginning for him of that really great, that life, settling in with somebody that he really loved and all that sort of stuff. So I think back to that time, and it's it really chokes me up because he was so happy.
Yeah.
But addiction is very, very I mean, it's so evil. It takes you, and you don't know who you are. And I've had addicts before tell me that, who've been sober for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, and still tell me no, it's still a threat, and because I'm not an addict, I didn't really understand what that meant.
Right.
And Phil was sober for, 22, 23 years. And so that was when the reality really hit me. That's what those people were talking about. You're never really safe because it lives in you.
Yeah.
In a way.
It's a daily battle.
It's interesting that, because we've heard everybody say everything from he was like almost a ballet type, like nimble to like.
You don't even know.
He couldn't even like.
He was so flexible.
Really?
Oh, really? Okay.
But we've also heard the other side of the
But also
spectrum.
so athletic too.
Okay.
Never fell behind in the boot camps, like never.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
We've already got like winded walking across a set or something.
But he was a smoker too.
That's
That's
true.
probably why, and like a New York smoker, like Parliaments. You know? It wasn't American spirits.
Right,
It was
right.
like so. He might have been having a bad smoker day or whatever it is. But no, when we were doing even the stunt team was like, damn. Belly and all, just keep it up. And
all right.
He was.
That's hope for us.
Incredibly. He was incredibly limber too, which was just very shocking.
Did you know about the fake film shoot? Charles can say it more about.
Yeah, so they shot. Were you part of the shoot that was in front of the Vatican? JJ, I think, has talked about. They did a fake nun. They had like nuns and then women in bikinis or something.
Oh, I remember
And they were doing
that.
a fake shoot to distract tourists.
Yeah, I remember
so
that.
So then over there they could shoot with Jonathan Rhys-Meyers.
Yes, I wasn't. Yeah, I was. Wait, no, I was with because Johnny and I did that scene together right outside. We're trying to get in.
Right.
Yeah.
So I do remember they kept it very quiet.
Yeah.
Like on the day, it was very like. Because none of the rest of people are going to want to be over there looking at the nuns in bikinis. But they kept it very quiet. But again, that's JJ.
Yeah.
It's so smart. It's like, well, I'm not going to tell people they can't mob the set because Jonathan Rhys-Meyers is here. I'll just create that.
Right.
And they wonder. I mean, it's so perfect.
Did you ever ask him about the rabbit's foot? What it is? Or did you ever press him to try to figure it out?
He said, when we talked about it, I was like, he said, because I don't know if he was joking or not, but we did talk about it. And I said, but JJ, what is it? He goes, I don't really know.
Finally.
But I don't know. I don't know if he's being funny because he is very funny and very charming. I mean, he could have been, just diverting.
There it is.
Isn't that hilarious? He's hysterical. JJ and I were on set one day and he was on a phone call with a producer on Lost because they were happening at the same time.
Yes.
And Lost filmed on the side of the island that I'm from, in Hawaii. And so he's talking and he says something to the producer about like, hey, why are you talking to me for so long? Like, don't you have a job to do or something like that? And then the producer was like, yeah, but we're trying to film and there's like these dogs barking and sound. It's an issue. So we're trying to like quiet the dogs so we can get this scene or whatever. And I was like, oh, cool. Where are they shooting? And he said, oh, we're shooting at this like little like Native Hawaiian church or whatever. And I'm like, oh, really? There's like a little Native Hawaiian church by my house, like right at the front of the street. And they were like, I said, is it red? And he goes, is it red? And he goes, yeah, it's red. I go, is it called Kealeo Kamalu Church? And he goes, yeah. And I go, where are the dogs? And he was like, they're at the end of the street. I go, that's my mom's house. I'll call her. Is that the most insane?
That's amazing.
JJ's like, what is happening right now? I'm like, that is insane. So I call my mom and I told her to take the dogs in. And she did.
You saved Lost.
Wow. I saved Lost, guys. I don't mean to brag, but I saved Lost. Right,
Wow.
Romeos? Isn't that hilarious?
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
How does that happen?
That also explains
great.
your backyard. This is like a little slice of Hawaii.
It's just like an oasis, isn't
an
it?
oasis.
Like it's
Yes.
it's very tropical.
Yeah.
I like to keep the island wherever I go. Yeah.
Well, JJ is also a notorious tinkerer in that, they'll pick up shots in the office or they'll do things like that.
Yeah.
Was there anything like that on Mission Impossible 3 that you remember?
Yeah. I don't know if they had the Bad Robot Office yet at that point, but did they call you in to do anything kind
Santa
of like
Monica?
that?
No,
Pickups or-
Okay.
They didn't have that yet. Yeah, I don't
Okay.
think that existed. They were working out of Paramount.
Okay.
Yeah.
We heard about them building the Millennium Falcon in a conference room.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
That's so
Yeah.
him, and with his background too.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's probably easily done for people like them.
There is a sequence in China.
Oh yeah.
Were you part of that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, we were Europe and then LA and then China. China was our last stop.
Okay.
And it was interesting because we were shooting there and there were a lot of regulations on like sort of like what we were able to get away with in the streets. We did car chases and
Right.
gunfire and things like that. And then
Well, because some of that was downtown LA, right?
Some of it was downtown LA, exactly.
Yeah.
And then some of it we did in China, exteriors. But the government there were very like, once the movie was cut, they were like, I think there's some kind of rule that's like, if you shoot a gun on the streets in China, that in the movie, the presence of the Chinese police or military has to like appear within 30 seconds.
Interesting.
Okay.
Right. To show that, we're on it. You
Yeah.
know, you can't get away with this kind of stuff, here, which is like, fine, whatever. It's your country, your rules. That's fine. But there was some stuff we had to like cut because we didn't have footage of Chinese police coming out of the woodwork for some of this stuff. So I think we had to take some of the gun stuff out and
interesting.
re-edit
Oh, interesting.
re-edit for that region. Yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't know.
Yeah.
So there's a different cut for China.
I think there's like a couple slices that had to be taken out. Yeah, to pass the censors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They could just replace Tom Cruise's gun firing, and you think you fire a gun too? Just make a little pew 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 sound.
Just,
Yeah.
or a slingshot.
Or,
Just
yeah,
insert
bubble,
a slingshot.
bubble.
Yeah.
It's making me very menacing. what rock you have.
I mean, did you show up to set when you weren't required? Some people have said that they like to just be there to see all this insanity.
There were some things that Tom was like, you gotta come, which was cool and very inclusive, obviously. And so there were some things that I showed up to. I was very lucky. I was involved in a lot of the very big action sequences, like that bridge sequence too.
Yes, we want to ask you about that in Calabasas,
Which was,
right?
at the time, the most expensive scene ever made.
Wow,
Really?
We haven't heard that. Wow.
Yeah, so it was like
Because of
it
the
was
bridge that
20
they
20
built?
something million for like the most expensive scene for the length of time in a film. So it's like, I don't know if it's like 2 or 4 minutes in the movie, and it was like 20 something $million for that 2 minutes, right? Yeah, exactly, or 4 minutes, whatever it was. They built the bridge because we had to blow it up, and then we had Blackhawks, and we had all the cars, and I mean it took a lot of people, a lot of stunt people, and this is like also Vic Armstrong,
Yes, legend.
legend. We're still friends too. I love Vic.
I might need to get his number from.
Yeah. Oh, you have to interview him.
Oh,
yeah.
Guys,
we got close at one point.
It'll be 4 hours because his just even like all his like Indiana Jones stuff, like all that early stuff,
Oh my
with
God.
Harrison and all that stuff.
Love to talk to him about that.
His stories. He has the best stories. I mean,
He was on
blow you
3
away.
before you. I mean, he was on the Scarlett Johansson version.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Joe Carnahan.
Big time.
directed,
Yeah. Oh right. Yeah. Vic's awesome. And like I said, I mean, I came into this movie on a very high level, obviously, working with like the best guys in the business. And so anyway, we did that sequence. That sequence was intense. Like it was, I mean, because there were so many moving parts, right?
Yeah.
There was a lot of, the car action was happening, and JJ wanted the helicopters in the shot. I mean, like it was a timing kind of nightmare.
Right.
In that.
We heard about the snakes in the field in Calabasas.
Well, I mean, it's just like you have to have wranglers all the time,
yeah,
right? Just like
snake
pulling
wranglers.
rattlesnakes like
Oh my
away from
gosh.
people.
No thanks.
They're everywhere. No, I mean, no thanks is right. I hate snakes. Like it's the way they terrify me. But yeah, it was a week out in the desert. I mean, it was like
That's what I was going to
7 or 8
ask. How
days.
many days were you shooting that?
It was about a week. It was like
Wow.
no, I'm sorry. It was like a week and a half.
Yeah.
Something like that. 10 days. So probably 2 weeks total, but 10 shooting days.
Yeah.
So it was man, it's just a lot of high octane stuff, which is really cool. So I was a part of a lot of the really interesting action stuff. So I got to
You good boy.
So it was cool that like I was already in those scenes and I was there.
Yeah.
But probably would have showed up though to see, something really cool like that if I wasn't in it.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Was there any version of the climax that had the team part of it? It's so sad that we wanted the team because you guys kind of get left behind. You and
I know.
Jonathan Rhys Meyers and Ving Rhames.
Maybe you had to go feed the cat.
Yeah, maybe it was the cat thing.
Yeah.
She didn't have the auto feeder like
Right.
she did in the Protege.
Right.
Yeah, I know. And I think that was a thing that made JJ a little sad too. Because I think there was like a logistics thing where they couldn't figure it out, how to get everybody, into that. And then they wanted me, I got a call about to come back for 5.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
we
but I
heard
was
that you
on
also
it.
got called for 4.
4 and
too?
5. Yeah, 4 and 5.
Okay, we need to really break this down.
Yeah, we need to hear about all this because
it was very short lived. I was on a show.
Was it Nikita?
So you're like locked in. I think
Yeah.
Nikita, I was on 4, I was on Nikita, and then 5, I was on some other piece of shit. And then that I shouldn't have been on and would have way rather done Mission. But, you're locked in. TV,
Yeah.
there's no way out. They will not. I mean, that famous Pierce Brosnan story, right? Brosnan, sorry.
Yeah.
Said his name totally wrong. Where he was offered bond, right? And
Yeah,
then
and he
he
was
was locked in.
He was on Remington Steel.
Yeah.
Right.
He was locked in, and then, if you're meant to be Bond, I guess it comes around. And
well,
it
if
did.
it comes back around, will you be coming back
I mean,
to
it would have
Mission
to be
Impossible?
like, they're already filmed like all of them, so they'd have to be like Mission
They're
15.
in the middle of production on 8, so you could get in there.
Yeah.
So do you remember
like
what they wanted you to do in 4
No,
and
because
5?
the answer was no right away.
Okay.
Right.
Because
And
we
you
had
said,
to.
are you available?
Well, yeah, we had to
Okay.
immediately go to the producers, and they were like, "No fucking way!" And I'm like, "You're a loser, and I hate you." And but yeah,
what might have been.
What might have
We're
been.
always rooting
Would have been cool.
for you guys to come back.
Yeah, and I love Johnny too so much. Like he was so much fun.
Right.
In that one too, and we were like. We were laughing about how generic our names were in the movie because he's like the Irish kid and his name was Declan.
Right, and you're
my
Zen.
name was Zen.
Right.
We were like, why are we so generic?
Right.
He's like, what am I, like the generic Irish guy? And you're like the generic Asian guy. I'm like, yeah, pretty much. Yeah. At a time when you could still get away with it.
Right.
In a big way.
Right.
Yeah. Funny.
But you both were able to bring to those characters so much personality. I mean,
I'm
this
so glad. Well, that was JJ too. Like allowing us find the humor, find all those little things, you because you guys are supposed to know each other very well. Like your rapport should be seamless.
Yeah.
And so hopefully we did that.
But it's a really nice car line. Was that improv? Was that in the script? Do you remember this when you blow up the car?
You blow up the car.
You say, but it's such a nice car.
Yeah. It was in the script, but we did there's so many different versions.
Okay.
And that shot, that's the Texas switch where
That's the Texas
it's
switch.
Phillip Seymour Hoffman, and then the camera pans over to you and tilts down to you pulling out the trigger.
Exactly.
And then it comes back, and then Cruz is there with a flap on his neck and a Phillip Seymour Hoffman
How
mask.
cool was that?
That's so awesome.
It was so awesome. Like, it was just so well done.
Yeah.
It's like, for whatever reason, as implausible as something is, it's just like, you just got to make it believable on film. Like, this is obviously a hyper-realized world. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
But
it's seamless when you put it in a continuous shot. Like, it just, that's just one of the best moments.
That's the
in the
JJ
movie.
of it all.
It's great. And it also has that great back and forth with Hoffman and Ving where he says, "What's up?"
Yeah.
And he says, "Nothing. What's up with you?"
through
so great.
Through the sewer.
Through the sewer, yeah. It's looking up at him. It's just so...
So that's
it's such a human moment.
I know.
Yeah.
And I think because JJ has that sense of humor and understands how important it is, I always find, like, with these big action movies, when they lose that, they're really not as interesting to me.
Yeah.
Not as fun, not as engaging,
Yeah.
Just, and I think that's why I was watching some other... Not the Thors, but I was watching, that Extraction movie that Chris Hemsworth did.
Yes.
And I hadn't seen the Thors. So I didn't really know, I know this sounds crazy, but I didn't really know Chris Hemsworth's work so much. And then my friend directed that movie. He was a stuntman. He was Hugh Jackman's double for a long time. So I've known him for years. So I'm like, I can't wait to see what he did. And I'm watching that and I'm like, this guy's a star because he's funny.
Yeah.
He finds humor in things.
Yeah.
He's obviously, his physicality is remarkable. He is so physically talented. And he's a good actor. And it's like, you got to kind of have all those things, right? Otherwise, it would just like boring, good looking guy with a nice body. Like, I don't find that interesting at all.
Yeah.
Unless
seems
you can find the humor.
Constantly kind of be underplaying his physicality and his handsomeness.
Which, by the way, he has to do to be successful.
Right.
Because otherwise he's just too unrelatable.
Right.
But I know the brother really well because I did a movie with him.
Okay. Which one? There's several.
Liam?
No, not that one. The oldest one. Luke.
Okay.
From Westworld.
Yes. So we did a film together, and in knowing Luke now as well as I do, I'm like, oh, you guys are awesome.
Right.
You're like nice people who were raised right.
Right.
Like you're married, you love your wives, you actually like have a family and you care about them. Like, oh, like you're not Hollywood. So like I get it now. I'm like, oh, you really are like, you don't really have to pretend to not be as good looking or whatever. I don't think he actually feels that way.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Whereas like some people like you look at them, you're like, you feel yourself. Like,
Right.
But I think that's the appeal of Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
I think there's somewhere that he just like, he doesn't totally buy it. Like he thinks it's all kind of funny. And,
It's very fun to watch him
Yeah.
do whatever he does.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if guys
charming.
like you,
Yeah.
you're golden. And women are going to like you no matter what. I mean, come on. It's like saying, like, you know, is a guy gonna like a hot woman? Like, yeah, they are gonna like hot women.
Right.
It's not
Well,
even
did you keep watching the movies after you left the franchise?
I did.
Or was it like attending an ex-girlfriend's wedding?
It both.
Okay.
I did, and like I like Paula Patton.
Yeah.
And so I wanted, you know, that's why
that's our dream is to have you and Paula Patton like have lead up a Paramount Plus show.
Do you know
a
what?
Mission Impossible
we
spinoff.
should actually.
You should.
Well, you know what's weird about Paula Patton? I'll tell you, is that there were several movies in my career after Mission Impossible where I was weirdly up against Paula Patton for several of them. It was like either her or me, and like talk about apples and oranges.
Yeah.
But yet somehow it was like either Maggie or it's her. I'm like, wow, that's really different.
But did you get lumped together because of Mission Impossible? But maybe or something.
I don't know what it was. Like, it was really interesting, and I was just like, I mean, and I always thought she was such a fantastic actress and stuff. But that to me was always so interesting. It was like, and maybe too at the time it was like we were also living in a world where they're like, well, where's our ethnic quota?
Right.
You know, and they were just like black girl or you know Asian mixed girl or mixed black girl. You know, like they were. It was a toss up.
Right.
And either one would have met their quota.
Yes,
and I guarantee that had something to do with it. But I think that we vibe a little bit similar too. And that's why it was her and me instead of like me and another, you know, mixed black girl or me or her and another mixed Asian girl or something.
So you watched 4.
Yes.
What do you think?
I liked it. I didn't like it as much as like 1 and 2.
Right. Okay.
You know what I mean? But I thought it was good. I think 5 is really good.
Okay. And you haven't
and then
seen
you see
6?
Fallout?
I haven't seen 6 yet.
Okay, you should see that.
Okay.
It's
good.
It's really good.
Yeah, I heard it's really good. Yeah.
It's a lot of people would have it at the top of their list, I think. I mean, that's the thing. That's so the series is so strong.
Is it better than like the Bonds?
Yes.
At this point.
And I grew up being a James Bond fan.
Oh, of course you're.
And
Maybe
now
you've not
I'm-
been in a James Bond movie by now.
You know, Barbara Broccoli, who's the producer, she's not a Maggie fan.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah, she doesn't
What'd
think
you
I'm.
do?
She doesn't think I'm Bond material.
Oh, well, we
You
should
got that,
set her
you
straight.
got that word from... Jeez.
Yeah, they
Wow.
were
Is
looking
she,
for it. My
what's the
agent.
word
No,
I'm
my
looking
agent
for?
knows her. My
Racist?
former.
Is that what it is?
My former agent at CAA knew her really well, and I'd been with him for 15 years at the time. I mean, I'm not with him anymore, but at the time, and so he was very frank with me because we'd known each other forever, and he was just like, she just, I mean, I've been pushing so hard, and she's just like, she's not really, you know, in so many words, Bond material kind of thing. And he was like, I so beg to differ, and she's like, well, it's my franchise.
Well,
Only matters what I think,
you-
which is true.
Listen, you're going to outlive her, so there's that.
and you end
I
up...
gotta get in good with her kid.
Yeah,
Like, whoever
exactly.
is gonna take over the franchise.
Yeah.
I'll be 75
Right.
and playing Bond's, you know, mother. But that's okay.
But hey, you ended up in the better franchise now.
Yeah, I mean,
I think Mission has surpassed James Bond right now. They're in such a groove.
I do, and I think they choose the right directors for the missions, to be honest. Like, I really do. Like, the last Bond, like, I love that director, but I didn't love that movie.
Yeah.
Well,
You know
he's
what I
in
mean?
hot
Like-
water now anyway, so.
He is?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what happened?
I'll tell you later.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Tell me on this podcast.
There's a
like,
couple
what's-
articles written about it.
Did you have any sense that, like, because your movie really is like the sort of beginning of this modern era of the Mission Impossibles.
Mm-hmm.
Was there any sense that, like, oh yeah, Simon's going to come back and we'll try to get you back? I mean, was there anything like that while you were making it?
Yes.
Okay, there was. Okay.
Yeah, they were very, and which is why, like, when they called for the other ones, it was like, oh, how cool. They don't like promise you anything.
Right.
You know, because they can't, you know?
Yeah.
But, because it depends on how the script shapes up.
Yeah.
And if it's, you know, if you're included, it's a nice surprise. And so, but I think one of the feedbacks that they did get on 3 was that people loved the team.
Yeah.
And I did too. I really loved the team, and I loved it all together. And I became really good friends with Ving as well on that, and we had stayed friends, and so we did have a good vibe.
Yeah.
Johnny too. We've stayed friends. Like we all really did get along very, very well, and so it did feel like a
Yeah,
little
it's such a
family.
shame that
It is.
they didn't bring more of them
Everybody
up.
says
Well, I guess
that
they
too.
tried.
I guess they tried, and then
Thanks a lot,
Johnny
Nick.
and
See, no.
Guys. And then Johnny was stuck on the tutors
Forever.
So we.
Oh, so they asked him back too.
I think they would have. Yeah, I think they were talking about it too because they were like, let's get the four team, four people team back together, and and Johnny was on that for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, I think that show was like, I think he fell off the wagon because of that show.
Yeah, he's had some
it was a really tough
troubles.
show.
Yeah.
Gosh.
He had troubles. But and Johnny, like I really I love his spirit. Like he's such a talented guy, and he's just like, he told me something once that really broke my heart. He said, I'm not like Colin. Like, people don't forgive me.
Right.
Like, Colin can get into all kinds of trouble. Yeah, but like, I'm the kind of guy where like, if I mess up or whatever, like it,
It's
I
true.
don't come back from it. And no, and he was right about that. And I was like, that breaks my heart because you're such a good person. Like, he was awesome.
So we're obsessed with Tom Cruise's hair on the show. You've been close.
Yeah.
As I am to the dog.
Yeah.
What's it like? What does it smell like?
It's thick. No,
Is
it's
it
thick.
thick?
It's thick. And the thing is, I think it's naturally because remember Taps?
Yeah.
I mean, he had that short hair. He looked
Even
like
the
a
first
chia
Mission
pet.
Impossible. Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of hairs per square inch. Like,
Yes. That's
he
true.
got a lot of follicle.
Well,
that guy. He's got lots of follicles.
Yeah. It's a good length in your Mission Impossible, though.
Really, I think like one of the best.
Ooh, okay.
So we like to ask people what their hair rankings are in the series.
Oh, I really like that in between long short thing on him.
Okay.
Like sometimes.
So I think it's all the more reason to see the new one, Fallout. His hair is
the same.
It's pretty short.
It's pretty
Right?
short.
I like that shirt. I don't know. There's something. It reminds. I don't know. Maybe it's like Top Gun nostalgia. I don't know.
Right.
Like old Top Gun. Obviously. I like him in that kind of like militant kind of look.
Yes.
All right.
I mean, you can't go wrong. Any hairstyle on him.
I mean,
Love
that
'em all.
guy. Like, it's just. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah.
He still has the enthusiasm. I mean, you've interviewed people who've worked with him recently. I mean, he still has the childlike enthusiasm of someone who just started. It's so cool.
Yeah. He's
He
amazing.
lost it. He loves it. And he knows somewhere, I know he's a big movie star, but somewhere he really knows he knows that he's privileged. Like, he just gets it. He's just like, I think I've always had that sort of thing too, where no matter what I'm on, I'm like, it doesn't have to be me.
Right.
Someone else.
Right.
I mean, we are all replaceable. I mean, literally everyone.
Right.
I don't care who you are. And so not forgetting that, I think, keeps you in a good space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any good? I'm a gigantic Jackie Chan fan. I think I told you before.
Yeah.
Do you have any funny Jackie Chan stories or any notable Jackie Chan stories?
Man.
Because he was your mentor, kind of, right?
He was, yeah. And a lot
Did
of
he
people
teach
too.
you how to be a movie star? I mean, what was the?
You don't know. I just kind of like a lot of the lessons I learned from him too were through observation, obviously, because watching his work ethic and watching how ambitious he was and everything that he did was like, I mean, I was so young. It was very eye-opening for me. It was very like, oh, please.
Ooh.
I mean, by the way, that means nothing. 'Cause I was telling him earlier that like
you tell her.
he doesn't have aggression. This guy, he just like
Tell her.
but he talks a lot. So a lot of it was that, but one of the things too was like his level of he's a perfectionist,
Yeah.
obviously, and
Yeah, you hear about him doing like over 100 takes for certain things.
and he's his worst critic, right? So it's like it's not anyone else who's going do another one. It's him always saying it, and so. And he also, like, you can't be lazy if you work with him. You can't be spoiled. You can't be, anything. We were on Around the World in 80 Days together, and I did, like, a cameo for his, whatever, because I worked with him, and he's like, do this cameo. Frank Crotch was like, yeah, do this cameo. So I did this cameo, and it was really fun. And I had, like, walked by, and there was, like, a bottle that I didn't see that was, like, on the ground. And he's like, hey, did you just walk past that bottle? And I was like, what bottle? And I look, I'm like, he's like, pick it up and throw it away. It wasn't mine.
Right.
But his whole, work ethic, his whole ethos is like, it doesn't have to be your garbage. It's there, so pick it up and throw it away. Which is like, awesome.
Did you follow the golden flush rule?
The what?
Have you heard about this? That
No.
he makes everybody pee. If you pee in a toilet, you got to leave it there until the end of the day.
That's about right. That's him.
It's kind of an environmental
One flush
thing.
a day, yeah.
Yeah,
Environmentally
that makes
conscious.
sense to me.
Yeah.
That's very him. You know, he's very like, I mean, the guy was like, like kidnapped and trained as a child. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
life was hard for him. So he's like,
Yeah, he's the only
leave your pee in
person
the toilet
on
and shut up.
the Lego movie junket who brought up his master beating him.
Oh.
And that
Yeah, it's really like slave labor. And then that's where he came from. So he doesn't have that like, oh, poor Maggie's working too hard. Like he doesn't have that, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of like Westerners are like, that must have been so fun working with him. I'm like, not really. Define fun. You know, like it was fun, but it was a lot. It was hard work, and I was part of his team, so to speak. So there weren't any. I mean, if he's around you guys right now, he would be the most charming, funny, like because he doesn't expect anything from you. It's not like, you know what I mean. You don't have to pick up the bottle.
Right.
I do because I'm part of his.
You're working on the project.
But yeah, so Jackie, he loves to sing. You know, he has albums.
Yes,
right?
Yeah, of course.
So I think Ridley's like production company, like they had come to Hong Kong, and you know, and he was meeting with them, and you know, we were all partying together and having dinners and stuff. So he's like, well, let's go to karaoke after. And so we go to karaoke, and there was this one producer who was like a blonde Western lady, and I think she liked him or whatever, but she was always like kind of like sitting near him and whatever, and he was very charming with her and stuff. And so we got in the karaoke, and he's like, Maggie, I want to like sing something for her, like in English. And I was like, okay. He's like, is there any, like, can you find me a song in English in the book? And I'm like, it's kind of ghetto. This is kind of a ghetto Chinese place, but I don't know. Let me check. So I got the book, and it's like all Chinese. And I'm like, So I finally talked to the guy, and I said, do you have an English book? And he goes, no. And I said, do you have any English songs? And he was like, at the back. And I was like, okay. So he's like, go through this whole book, and at the back, there's 2 English songs, okay? One is Happy Birthday, and it wasn't her birthday.
Right.
And the other one was 3 Blind Mice. And so he's like, okay, so did you pick something? I'm like, well, slim pickings, because one's Happy Birthday. And he's like, is it her birthday? I'm like, well, no. And he goes, what's the other one? I go, it's called 3 Blind Mice. He goes, well, perfect. I go, well, it's not really a song as much as it's like a nursery rhyme, and it's like a thing you like sing to kids. And he's like, yeah, but would she know it? I'm like, yeah, she'll know it. He's like, perfect. I was like, ah, and I tried to stop him, and he got on the mic, and it was like he sang his little heart out, and it was very like he didn't get the nursery rhyme reference, because I don't know if they have those the way that we do. Right. And so I was like, it's a kid's song, and he was like already not listening to me. And so when he got on the mic, it was like he went like straight into serious singing so he was like, 3 blind mice.
Oh my
Was the woman
like
impressed?
What?
Did
it work? Yeah. Did it?
She was so charmed.
Oh.
Probably got him laid. I mean, I'm sure it did. Because it was so sweet. I'm like, you're welcome.
Oh, that's great.
But it was very sweet, and she laughed her ass off, so it was fun. But, you know, he can be very adorable, but he can also be like a real slave driver, you know, because that's his work ethic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I get it. I get both sides.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Is that it? Have we exhausted our questions for
and you're
Maggie
done.
Q?
He's like, and you're done.
I don't know. I guess we could ask for specific rankings of the movies.
But if you haven't seen all of them,
you haven't seen 5. Yeah.
Well, I still have to
do you have a favorite?
see.
Is 1 still your favorite?
I think because 1 was such an anomaly. Like, you're just like, what? This is so crazy.
Yeah.
And Prague. Like, just all of it. I was just mesmerized. And I think I sort of have, like, a special place for that. Because I remember I shot in the Czech Republic, like, shortly after that movie came out. Like, I was a few years after I came out. And I was like, you know, like, this is the bridge. And this is the and this is the and it just really stayed with me. I was shooting, like, a commercial or whatever. But I was just like, this is where they did all of those sequences. And I don't know. It just has a special place for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for us too.
Yeah.
It's so good.
This one was
That would be
blown away.
us if we were
Oh, really?
walking around Prague. We would say, oh, look, there's the bridge. We'd probably reenact things.
That would be you guys.
Yeah,
That
it would be us. Yeah. There's a dog in the
hilarious.
Mission Impossible franchise.
Well, there is a dog. 3's the only one that has. Ethan's got a dog in 3.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. He did.
We're
have a
always
dog.
wondering
You're
what
so
happened to
right.
Ethan's dog.
Well, whoever the dog sitter is, they're making a lot of money because he's never around.
Well, thank you so much for
Guys, that was
talking
super
with
fun.
us.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll be back on Sunday for another dog date.
For another
yeah.
dog date.
No, but we should do dog dates though, because they get a lot.
How you feeling, Charles, about that?
I feel wonderful, Drew. Thank you for asking. How do you feel?
I feel great. I thought she was wonderful, and she told so many great stories and was so open and effervescent. And
Yeah, she's so funny. And
I feel like we haven't had that. Have we had as many people from 3 on the show? It just feels like 3 is still a little bit of a mystery to us. Maybe.
I think we've had some good. We had Dan Mindel. We had Scott Chambliss. We had Marianne and Mary Jo, the editors.
That's
I
true.
mean, we've had a lot of big. I think the big missing piece is J.J. Abrams. That's what we got to get. J.J.
That's
We got to get Colleen Atwood, the costume designer. We've got there's. I think Mission Impossible 2 is probably the one that we've had the least amount of people who've worked on it from.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
We're gonna get more. We have. It's not for lack of trying. I will tell you that there are some awesome people who've worked on that movie that we've been trying to get, and so
We did email Richard Roxburgh and had a deafening lack of response. On
Silence,
that front.
yeah.
So
we're gonna work on that.
Keep trying.
We gotta get him. We gotta get Jeffrey Kimball, the cinematographer from MI2. There's so many people. Like we said before, we've got a long list of people we still have to get on this show. So please subscribe if you haven't already. And this week, I mean, we talked about the rabbit's foot. That was pretty funny to hear her talk about that. And JJ not really having an answer for what it is.
God bless him. God bless him.
I loved hearing about Phillip Seymour Hoffman's flexibility and athleticism. I feel like we can finally put that to rest now. I feel like we'd gone back and forth. Maggie Q firsthand was telling us how athletic he was, and then was saying like maybe he's got smoker's cough, and that was the thing that would maybe make people think that he couldn't do it.
That was slowing him down, you think?
Maybe. I mean, it sounded like she said he could keep up in those drills, and he was, very very nimble. So I thought that was pretty. I was just watching MI3 with my wife. She'd never seen it before actually, and I was watching that part and going through the rafters in the Vatican. I think that is Phillip Seymour Hoffman doing that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and then also it was interesting to hear that the Chinese cut of the movie is different. I'd be curious to see that version. Has anyone seen the Chinese cut out there?
# release the Chinese cut. I mean, I guess it's released. We just have to figure out how to get it. But
yeah.
Yeah.
And then of course, what might have been with Ghost Protocol and Rogue Nation if had Maggie Q been in either or both of those movies, how different would things be? I mean, everybody talks about Benji, and they're so obviously Benji's beloved in the franchise now, but would Zhen be just as beloved at this point if she had been in those movies? However, also if she was in Ghost Protocol, then we maybe wouldn't have gotten Paula Patton, and that would have been heartbreaking to not have her as part of the IMF.
I know. There is a universe out there in the multiverse of madness that this happened, and people were enjoying her for many, many years to come as the character, but sadly we did not get that. But listen, there's always hope. They're shooting 8 now. Come on, give her a call. We have her number. If McCory, if you need it, we will supply it. So yeah, it's not too late.
Yeah, and then also, she could get a Paramount Plus series. Come on, Paramount. There's plenty we can do with Zhen.
I say yes. The more Zhen projects, the better. That's what I say. But
but anyway, it was fun. It was so great to do this in person. The energy was just wonderful, and she's just a delight. And it was just so such an amazing actress and funny, and so great to be around.
Yes, thank her for our time, and hopefully the dogs will get back together. But no one will be recording it, so they can be as loud as they want to be.
Yeah.
Charles, do you want to? What do you have? You have things to plug too, right?
Yeah, I do, Drew. Wow, that was a seamless transition. I do. I want to plug our Patreon, patreon.com/LightTheFuse. Please support our show. Sign up there. You can get weekly bonus episodes if you sign up at the bonus content level, which is the Mission Commander level. And we used all the middle management IMF bosses as our tiers on Patreon. So we also have higher levels too, where you can join us for our monthly Zoom chat that we do with this amazing group of people from all over the world. We talk about Mission Impossible and all kinds of other things, and we mostly Mission Impossible and Top Gun Maverick, but we do talk about movies in general and stuff. It's a really awesome, lively chat with some really smart, great people. And you can also support the show by getting a shirt or a magnet or a pin or a mask or a button, whatever. You can get that from our TeePublic store, which is linked from our website, LightTheFusePodcast.com. If you go to the merch tab, you'll find a couple samples there and a direct link to our TeePublic page. Also on our website, you can go to the episode guide and scroll through there and look through 202 episodes, actually more than 202 episodes, because we did bonus episodes. We did a little mini series with our friends Andy Radzewski and Adrian Correa about the cinematography of the Mission Impossible movies. That was outside of the numbers. And we also did all of our Top Gun Maverick mini series, Light the Fuselage, outside of the numbers, to buy us a little time to make sure that we could get the 200th episode in time. But it's all there. It's got to be like 210 or so episodes now at this point, if you don't count the numbers. We try to make it as confusing for you as possible. In any case, go check it out on the episode guide on our website and look at all the show notes that we have for each one, because it's a great visual companion to everything that we do here audio-wise on the podcast. What else, Drew?
Well, I want to encourage everybody to follow us on social media at Light the Fuse Pod on Instagram and Twitter, and that'll be sort of the first line of defense when any news breaks about either franchise. We'll comment on it there. And yeah, to just like, subscribe, rate, and review wherever you're listening to this podcast, and also to reach out on social media or via email if there's a topic you want us to cover or an idea for a Patreon episode or whatever you have in your mind. Let us know, and we will try to facilitate. So many great ideas have come from people suggesting topics, so that really helps us, or suggesting guests as well. So
yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's we've gotten so many amazing suggestions over the years for the main feed and for the Patreon. You know, we did a recent episode about because they did a 4K release of Edge of Tomorrow, and we talked about Edge of Tomorrow, and that was a popular Patreon episode that we did.
It's a great movie too.
It is. It's a better movie than it is a Patreon episode on our Patreon. I'll say that.
That's very true. Yeah. But yeah, we always have new things going up on social media and the Patreon. So I think it's very much worth your while to subscribe to the Patreon and to follow us on social media. So we'll be back next week. Who's on next week, Charles?
Next week is VFX producer Tom Peitzman.
Okay, great. I have very little memory of this interview taking place.
We did this one a while ago before we did the Top Gun Maverick interviews, but it was a great chat. He was a VFX producer on Mission Impossible 3 and Ghost Protocol, and we got some great news stories from him, because I know we've talked to VFX people for both of those movies, and we found some news stories from him that were really great, and so I'm excited to share that one with you guys. Yeah. Oh, and also I got to say that the music for this episode was by Kevin Blumenfeld. And also that it was edited and mixed by Luke Burson. So thank you to Kevin and to Luke.
Great. And we will be back next week.
Thanks again for listening, everyone. Before we go, another mission, should you choose to accept it, please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And remember that you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at LightTheFusePod, and email us questions or comments at LightTheFusePodcast@gmail.com. This message will self-destruct in 5 seconds.